Hello, I'm Toni Arzaga and I'm here with Professor Hereniko and I'll be asking him a couple of questions. First one is, what are the most important things to remember when translating oral tradition into a screenplay?
Wow, you just go right for the jugular. You asked the best question right from the beginning. Well, for me, it's important to figure out what is the essence of the story, because that, I think, should stay, but the other aspects of the tale, which perhaps aren't as important, like what someone's wearing, how old they are, may not be as important. But in cinema Tinirau, what is most important is that the coconut tree is a gift, from the eel to the young maiden in an effort to win her love. That, to me, needs to stay, right? Mm-hmm. But the character of the girl could change a little bit, and so yeah, figure out what is most important in the story, the essence, and keep it. Yeah.
Thank you. Like your film Woven, film is a way to send a political message. Do you think point of views and policies can change from watching indigenous films?
I would hope so, yeah, because I think sometimes, as in Woven, which is based on an incident that happened to me, when people see it, they might be surprised. I'm sure if those, the guard and the supervisor were to see this, they would be shocked, because they could only see it from their point of view, mm-hmm. that I was, trespassing. But to see it from my point of view, hopefully, it would build empathy for people like myself. It's interesting that most Western artists, when they create the art, they have a workshop, a fancy workshop, in a big studio perhaps. Where is my studio? My studio is the open space, in the urban jungle. That's my studio. And when I try to do my art, I get chased away. And they look down on what I'm doing, like, oh, you're with a coconut leaf? How come? Because the coconut has been looked down upon as this very primitive thing that is symbolic of savagery and nativity and primitivity, right? That's what people think of the coconut tree. And when you are with a leaf working to weave a basket in the middle of Kaka'ako, they think something's wrong with you, right? Mm-hmm. And as the God said to me, you don't belong here. Well, where do I belong?
Good. That's really good. How does weaving coconut leaf baskets connect to your roots and help you preserve your cultural identity in a modern urban space?
I think it's very important because I learned to weave when I was 10 years old from my dad. And then I went and got a Western education. And I was taught to assimilate and be Westernized. And so I forgot all about the fact that I did know how to weave. And when COVID happened and I had a lot of time on my hands, I realized that I could use my time productively by learning to weave again and then do a better job than my parents did when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. So in doing that, I was reconnecting with my roots. And it's very hard to do that in a big city like Honolulu that has forgotten its roots.
That's really interesting. As a journalist who reports on indigenous issues, how do you avoid having a bias, or should there be a bias when reporting on indigenous issues?
I don't necessarily think of it as a bias, because let's face it, there's no total objectivity in anything. We see the world through our lenses, right? Mm-hmm. It's a very subjective thing. We can pretend that we're objective, right? But we really cannot be totally objective.
Thank you. Toni Arzaga for the Mānoa Mirror.